In a world full of pilot vanishing point knockoffs, the Narwhal Eclipse is certainly an interesting pen. It's got a very interesting design choice and a more interesting clicking mechanism. So let's take a look at this one-of-a-kind pen. Right off the bat, man, this pen is huge. Let's take a look at the comparisons. So we have the Lamy Dialog CC, we have the Enso Bolt, and of course, the Pilot Vanishing Point. The Narwhal Eclipse just dwarfs the competition. These two aren't even close. They just get tossed right out. And even something that's like pretty girthy, like the Lamy Dialog CC. Look at that. Look at that difference. It's just, man, it's a big pen. It's pretty light for such a big pen, which it's good for writing, except it feels cheap. Because you look at such a big pen and you go, oh, this must be a heavy pen, but then you realize that this is like, it feels noticeably lighter than something like the Vanishing Point, which is, I mean, it is a lot bigger than the Pilot Vanishing Point. So it's, I don't know, psychologically it makes me feel a little bit weird holding on such a big pen and it just feels so light, but practically I think it's a good thing. The pen is faceted with, I think, 12 facets? Yeah, I think 12 facets, which gets a little bit uncomfortable if you have a tight grip after a while. But if it just rests on your hand normally like this, you can notice it, but it's not that big of a deal. Things I like about it. So first thing I like is the design. The design is very unique. It is not a knockoff. The guys at Narwhal came up with this by themselves, with inspiration, of course, but we'll get to that later. But overall, I like that it's not a knockoff. It's its own pen. So another thing I like is the clip comes off and you don't even need a fancy tool to do it. You can just use your fingers to kind of just like push it out. It doesn't give you any tools either, so I'm guessing this is the intended way they wanted us to take it off. But I'm not gonna, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So if you take it off and you get a closer look, you can see that it scratches a little bit of the paint off every time. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, writing without the clip, pretty comfortable, so that can go away for now. The clip comes off. Another thing I really like about it is, oh yeah, let's show you how to take apart the pen first. So, pen's normally like this. As you can see, when it clicks, the entire half of the body moves forward. This is pretty annoying if you have small hands like me and you're trying to click with one hand. Because you see how my finger just blocks it. So I need to move my pinky all the way down here. And I can't use any of my other fingers because they'll get in the way. That's just to click it with one hand. Of course, two hands, not a problem at all. But if I had two hands, I'd just screw off the clip. Or the cap, sorry. I just screw off the cap, so I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool though. It looks like something you'd see out of the X-Men. Sorry, not the X-Men, the Men in Black, their little memory thing. Boop. To take this thing apart, there's a knob at the back. You unscrew that knob, and it comes off. The Narwhal Eclipse comes with its own converter, which I personally think is a lot better than the Con 40. No surprise there. And in fact, the nib unit is interchangeable with the Pilot Vanishing Point's nib unit. So Oh yeah, get used to that. I don't know why the ink just spills out everywhere for this pen. I actually carried this in a vanishing point a while ago, and it just leaked ink everywhere inside of the pen, and it was a big mess to clean up. So there you go. It works perfectly fine. I'm gonna take that back out before it leaks ink all over my vanishing point again. Put the vanishing point nib unit back inside. If you take a closer look at the nib, let my camera focus. Oh my goodness. There we go. You can see a little narwhal on it. Pretty cool. Now, put the pen back together. Pretty easy. There's a little facet here, right where the narwhal logo is. If you can see it, there you go. Just line it up with the logo. In it goes. It actually sits in there pretty snugly, but you still need to push it with the body a little bit just to get all the slack. And then you have to screw this in. Boom. It uses the same trapdoor mechanism as the pilot vanishing point, which is to say that the nib pushes the trapdoor open. There's been some speculation on if that damages the nib or not, but I can tell you right now, the force that the nib pushes the trapdoor is probably not much more than you just writing on paper. It's not a big deal. There's vintage vanishing points, been used 20, 30 years, and their nibs are fine. You do not have to worry about the trapdoor. By the time that trapdoor can ground down your nib, the trapdoor is long busted. So do not fret. Now, let's get to one of the most important parts of any pen, the price. Oh, look at that. What a fine writer this is. There you go. Price. No. There you go. That was easy. It's 146 Canadian dollars. It is not a cheap pen at all. $146, you can buy the steel nib version of the Vanishing Point, which I can tell you right now does not dry out this fast. I literally inked this pen before I made this video. So it's a freshly newly inked pen and it's already drying out. This is pretty embarrassing. I wish like there was more positive things I can say about it. I guess like you can throw a pilot vanishing point nib in here, maybe. Like, so you don't have to use this nib unit, I guess. I'm not too sure, but the dry out on this thing is just insane. As for the actual texture, like aside from how poorly the ink flows, it's not terrible. Like it doesn't feel scratchy. It's definitely a steel nib, but it's not scratchy. But like, just look at that sample. Like, it's just missing all the spots for $146 too. I mean, come on. I don't know if it's like a dud or something, but I've seen some other like reviews that complain about the dry out, but I've never seen it like be like this bad. Like, it's just, I mean, let's give it a try. So with cursive, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog Like you can see several points where it's just like struggling to keep up for $146, man. And but if you write with it normally, so if you just use print, you can still see like the T, the H. Like there's still like a good amount of just spots that it struggles with. Maybe I just got a dud or something. I don't know. Like maybe it is a dud and like I'm just making a big fuss out of like a genuine mistake. But man, like I really wanted to like this pen. It's a unique design. It's not a knockoff of something like the Mahjong A1. It's an attempt at like trying to make something new, and it does look cool. Like it does look kind of cool, but I can't recommend $146 for this, and that's before shipping. $146, man. That's a lot of pens you can get. Like I can think of at least a dozen pens at that price range I get that are is not gonna give out this like quickly. So I hate to make such a negative review because I really wanted to like this pen, but it's it's rough. It's really rough. Hopefully, Narwhal's a pretty good company. I know they made some pretty decent pens like the Nautilus, which I actually have, but hopefully they can improve upon this design and just make it better. So, like that's all I have to say. Like just when I first got this pen, I was really excited, but after I used it for a few days, I feel kind of like disappointed, I guess. But hopefully, Narwhal can fix their some of their flaws with this design and do better in the future. Yeah.